Do you have supplies that you've been collecting? No, I said collecting and not using. Hey, I should know, I am definitely one of you. What if I told you that I came up with 3 ideas and one simple formula that you could use basically with all of your supplies for just about any occasion? Hi, I'm Ingrid Blackburn and I'm an artist. Today we're going to work on 3 easy projects to get you inspired and get creating. You know, one of the most common comments that I actually see in the comment sections of these videos is that people want to learn how to use the things that they already have. Well, like you, I have things that sit in a drawer, paper, sequins, backgrounds. You probably have a lot of backgrounds, especially if you monoprint, you have a stack of backgrounds. And a lot of these things just kind of sit there. I have the best intentions of using them, or I, buy something, I get really excited and I put it with this collection and I'm off to the next shiny new object. Yeah. We're all kind of guilty of that. I've broken this down into a very simple concept. Be sure to stay to the end because at the end I sum it up and I have a little nugget of gold that I think is going to help you turn some of the things that you have created or have purchased into something really magical and simple. So let's dive right in. My projects today are going to focus on one shape, and that's a heart. If you don't want to use a heart, don't worry. Use whatever you want. If it's a birthday, try a present. Or if it's Christmas, do a tree. There's so many different options. I created a heart, and I just basically drew that onto a pasta box. That way I have something a little bit sturdier to use over and over again. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take any piece of paper that you want or background that you created, anything really, and you're just going to trace your shape onto the back, and then you're going to cut it out. And now you have a great focal point for any card. Now you could always just use it by itself, and that's a very simple card. But, I like to add a little bit of pizzazz. How about things that you probably have? Maybe you collect them. I used to collect them for years. I don't so much anymore, except the white and neutral toned ones. Strips. These are little 1/2-inch strips that I use. And I ended up cutting a couple from a piece of colored cardstock because I have so much. And I just wanted to use it as strips onto the back. I used some that coordinated with the paper, and I also had to create the green one. So I took a white strip and I just smashed my coordinating ink pad down onto it for the green. And so now I have 3 colors that work. I rotated them. They're not cut exactly the same length. And then you just kind of stagger them back and forth and then attach them to your card with liquid glue. It's super easy. And for a little bit of contrast and interest, I add a very simple sentiment from a sticker book that I have. Now you can also stamp a sentiment onto a black piece of cardstock and then emboss it in white. Very easy to do. And you can create these for just about anything. And just because it's a heart doesn't mean that it's Valentine's Day. Don't forget that. I have one that says make it count. I have so many different sentiments on here. A heart can really be used for just about anything. But think of it, circles, trees. You can just use any shape, any die that you have. Now this next idea is going to go super fast. You're basically going to take your shape and you're going to create it, but using sequins. Now, the key here is that you want to have something that you can use as a guide. So that could be a die cut. I happen to cut out a heart, as you see here. I wanted it to be just to have a slightly different feel. So I used one of the hearts that I had cut out from a different project. It's actually project number 3. I folded it in half and just created a different shape, something a little bit more flirtier and fun. I wanted it to have the tops that kind of swelled out a little bit more. And then you're going to basically put that down on your card and you're going to take some glue, but I use this Nuvo glue. It's the deluxe adhesive. It has a super fine tip, and that's really, really important when you're using fine little notions like this. You also want an adhesive if you're going to use something like sequins that are clear, that does dry matte in case just a little bit comes out to the side. Another tool that I love to use with small little things like this is a pickup tool and a placement tool. I use the Quick Sticks by We Are Memory Keepers, and that's a really great one, but I know there are lots of DIY solutions, and if you're one of those people that has a great one that you've done and you've used, definitely leave it in the comments. I would love to know that. And I'm sure everybody here in the community could benefit from that. But what's really great about this Quick Sticks tool is it has this other side to it, the little, I call it the pokey side. It's got a real sharp little plastic point and one that looks like a flathead screwdriver. And it's really great for helping to get those little pieces back onto your card that always like to lift up. Now this card took me about 35 minutes to complete, and it's going to go by really quick as you can see the shape kind of unfolding. But one of the keys is that you want to use sequins or notions that have different sizes. I always like sequin mixes when I'm doing this, or when you buy your sequins, just vary it. Don't get everything the same size. And try some different colors. And it doesn't always have to be like, even though this particular card I made for my niece for Valentine's Day because she loves those sequin shirts and I love buying them. You know, the ones that flip back and forth. And I know that she's going to flip out when she sees this card because she loves sequins. I mean, really, it's her bling. But I'm using some by Catherine Pooler Designs, and they do a really nice job of putting together some very cool colors, different sizes. Sometimes they have different textures. Now, I don't really care for the beads that are in there, but if I were to ever make a shaker card, that would definitely be something that I would be looking for. But really, think about this. Go to the garage. Does your husband have maybe, or maybe you have, in there that are small that you could create a masculine card out of? There's so many different ideas that you can use with notions. There's another one. That's really cool. And if you come up with something very creative, definitely let us know. But how cool is this card? And here, just so I can prove to you that it doesn't have to be just hearts. It can be really any shape. Here's one that I did for Christmas. Now, another tool you can use to create just the shape on your card is a sparkle pen. It really it won't show. And if you see it, it's just some glimmer on your piece of cardstock. This last one probably has the most possibility out of all of them. And I think that you could probably use just about anything here. I chose to use washi tape. So basically you're going to start with a shape. Now what I did was I took a regular piece of copy paper and I folded it in 4. That way I had something that was a little sturdier. It was something that I could throw away if I didn't want. Now when I cut my heart out, I cut it from the bottom. So all I had to do was just kind of tape that back up with a piece of Scotch tape, and that was sturdy enough to give me something that I could trace my design. You want to be able to have, this is really when you're looking at it, it looks like a stencil. So this way I can put it onto my card base, which is just a piece of white cardstock, just folded in half, and then I can trace my design. So basically you're going to draw your shape onto your card, and that way you have a guide for laying down whatever it is that you're going to use. Maybe you're going to use sequins, maybe you're going to use yarn, maybe you're going to use washi like me, or pattern paper. You could use a background design. You could literally use just about anything. I covered my design with my washi tape, and you can see that goes really quick. Of course, mine sped up, but still, it went really fast. And you can very easily mass produce this if you have like 20 of these already ready to go and you have your tape. You can just do them all kind of like an assembly line fashion. So I traced my design onto a piece of Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. Now, once I cut that out with an X-Acto blade, because I, of course, want that to just have the shape cut out. I don't want to have any cuts coming from any other direction. And if you're not comfortable using an X-Acto blade, make a hole with your scissors in the very center and kind of go out from there. Now, once it's cut out, that's kind of cool and layered over the background that we created, but it wasn't enough for me. I felt like it needed more. Now, because mine has a little bit more of a masculine feel, I decided to make my card front look like wood. So I just took a very simple distress spot in brown. It's very important to use felt pad rather than a foam pad for this, because a foam pad gives out too much ink. A felt pad, you can just very easily just go up and down your pattern piece, and there you go. You've got a piece that looks exactly like wood. Now, if you want it to look a little bit more distressed, you can even run a little bit of white pigment pad over that as well and have the combination of colors. Gives it a nice grungy feel, but one of the key things too to remember is you want to also do a little bit of edging here, because when you add that little bit of edging to the inside of your shape, as well as the 4 corners, it helps to draw that viewer in, and you're also providing contrast for it to pop up from the washi tape as well as from the white card base. That will definitely help your project. Contrast always helps. So here's that little golden nugget that I alluded to earlier. I have an equation for you. It's shape plus X equals card. Pretty simple. If you take any of these concepts and apply them to literally any supply, any occasion of the year, I guarantee you can come up with a card. And sometimes mojo has kind of left us and we're not feeling very creative. This is a simple enough idea for you to literally get something out of a drawer that's been collecting dust. We know we all have it. And you actually get creating. You want to learn how to draw the perfect heart every single time. I want you to take the concepts from this video right here, and I want you to apply it to whatever shape it is that you want to draw. Don't necessarily focus on the part that it's a heart. Focus on the part of it's a shape and how I broke it down. I'll see you right there.